The night began with soft music and quiet hope. Rohan Verma stood in the living room, adjusting the candles for the third time. 7 years of marriage felt like a small lifetime to him, built from routine mornings, shared tea, and unspoken trust. He believed love grew stronger when it was protected. He believed his wife, Alina, believed the same. Alina arrived late, wearing a smile that did not reach her eyes. She kissed his cheek, distracted, her phone buzzing in her hand. Rohan ignored the small sting. He told himself everyone had busy days. He poured wine, raised a glass, and spoke about memories, the tiny rented flat. The first fight, the first forgiveness. Alina nodded, distant, waiting. When she finally spoke, it was not to remember the past. It was to change the future. She said she wanted honesty. She said marriage should not feel heavy. She said she had been reading, thinking, dreaming. Then she said the words that froze the room. An open marriage. It's just physical, she promised. No emotions, no lies. Freedom, she called it. Growth. Rohan felt his chest tighten. He searched her face for doubt, for fear, for a joke that had gone too far. There was none. She looked confident, almost relieved. She spoke fast, explaining rules she had already decided. He listened without interrupting, years of calm training his voice not to break. He asked one question. Have you already chosen this? She hesitated. That pause was louder than any. Confession. Rohan nodded slowly. He said he needed time. Alina smiled, kissed his hand, and said she knew he would understand. That night, Rohan slept on the edge of the bed, staring at the ceiling, learning how silence could scream. The days that followed moved fast. Alina became lighter, brighter. She stayed out late. She bought new clothes. She laughed at messages she never shared. Rohan did not follow her. He did not accuse her. Instead, he watched, learned, and remembered everything. He read about open marriages, about consent, about boundaries. He noticed Alina never asked if he wanted the same freedom. He noticed the rules only protected her. When he brought this up, she brushed it aside, saying he was overthinking. She told him he was too traditional, too serious. She said love should breathe. Rohan smiled and let love breathe. At work, he stayed sharp. At home, he stayed kind. Cooked, he cleaned. He asked about her day. He became invisible. Inside, he began to separate the man who loved from the man who observed. One evening, Alina came home pale. She said she felt sick. Food made her nauseous. She blamed stress. Rohan made soup and held her hand. Her fingers trembled. He felt it. He remembered it. Weeks passed. The sickness stayed. Doctors were visited. Tests were ordered. Rohan sat beside her in white rooms, holding papers, listening carefully. The results came in pieces. An infection. First, serious but treatable. The doctor asked questions. Alina avoided Rohan's eyes. On the drive home, the car was quiet. Alina cried suddenly, loudly, her fear spilling out. She said she made a mistake. She said it just happened. She said she was careful. Rohan said nothing. He parked the car, got out, and opened her door. He wrapped his jacket around her shoulders and told her they would get through it. He meant they would get through the truth. Treatment began. Pills lined the counter. Appointments filled the calendar. Rohan paid every bill without complaint. He learned schedules. He set alarms. He became the perfect support. Lena clung to him, grateful and ashamed. Then came the second test. The doctor's voice was calm. The words were not. Pregnant, early stages, the room felt small. Alina's hands shook. She whispered that it could not be. She looked at Rohan like a drowning person looks at the shore. Rohan asked about dates. The doctor answered. The math was simple. The truth was cruel. They drove home under a sky too bright for such news. Lena broke down, confessing between sobs. She said the open marriage was her excuse, her cover, her permission to run from boredom she never explained. She begged Rohan to forgive her. She promised change. She promised loyalty. She promised anything, Rohan listened. He did not shout. He did not blame. He asked one thing. Time. That night, he slept on the couch. He stared at the dark, his mind racing with clarity he had never known. Love had blinded him. Now, pain sharpened him. The next morning, he woke early and made breakfast. Alina watched him like he might disappear. He told her to focus on her health. He said stress was bad for the baby. His calm confused her, also comforted her. Days turned into weeks. Rohan became even kinder. He attended every appointment. He held her hair when she vomited. He rubbed her back when nightmares woke her. He never asked about the father. He never needed to. Behind that kindness, Rohan began to build walls. Copied messages when Alina left her phone unlocked. He saved medical records. He recorded conversations. With gentle questions that led her to admit facts she tried to soften. He spoke to a lawyer quietly, learning his rights, learning patience. Alina sensed the distance growing. She tried to bridge it with tears and apologies. She said the baby could still be theirs emotionally. Rohan smiled and said they would talk. Later became his strongest word. One evening, as rain tapped the windows, Alina asked if he hated her. Rohan looked at her long and hard. He said hate took energy he did not have. He said he was tired. She held his arm, crying, whispering that she loved him. Rohan closed his eyes. Love, he realized, could exist even after trust died. It just changed into something quieter, heavier. The paternity test was suggested by the doctor, routine and neutral. Alina resisted at first, then agreed. Waiting for the result was like holding breath underwater. Rohan stayed steady. Alina fell apart. When the result arrived, Rohan read it alone first. The words were clear. Not the father. He folded the paper carefully and placed it in a folder with others. Evidence of truth. Proof of patience. That night, he told Alina gently. She screamed, cried, collapsed. She begged him not to leave. She promised she would never ask for freedom again. She promised obedience, devotion, anything that would keep him. Rohan held her and whispered that he would not abandon her. His words were honest. He would not abandon her to cruelty. He would abandon the lie. As Alina slept, exhausted from tears. Rohan sat at the table and looked at the anniversary gift still hidden in a drawer. He opened it. Inside was a simple necklace engraved with their wedding date. He closed the box and placed it back. Outside, the rain stopped. The city lights glowed steady and cold. Rohan felt something settle inside him, not anger, not hatred, but resolve. The story of their marriage had reached a turning point. Lena believed forgiveness had saved her. She did not yet understand that silence had teeth, and Rohan was done bleeding quietly. Morning came like nothing had changed. Sunlight filled the kitchen. The city moved as usual. Only inside the apartment, the air felt heavy. Rohan woke early and went for a long walk. He needed movement to keep his thoughts straight. When he returned, Alina was sitting on the sofa, eyes swollen, hands on her stomach, fear written across her face. Rohan greeted her softly and made tea. He spoke about the weather, about traffic, about small things. Alina watched him closely, trying to read his heart. She could not. His calm scared her more than anger ever could. The days that followed were carefully balanced. Alina stayed home more. She stopped going out at night. She deleted contacts in front of him, showing effort, seeking approval. Rohan nodded but never asked. He did not want control. He wanted clarity. Alina's health became the center of daily life. Medicines, checkups, diet plans. Rohan handled everything with quiet efficiency. Doctors praised him. Nurses smiled at him with sympathy. Everyone saw him as the perfect husband standing by a broken wife. Alina felt the weight of that image. Guilt pressed on her chest. Night. She reached for Rohan, craving reassurance. He let her hold his arm, but his body stayed still. He slept lightly, alert as if guarding something precious. Rohan continued gathering proof. He saved emails, he stored bank statements, he documented dates. He spoke to his lawyer again, refining steps, understanding timing. Revenge, he learned, was not loud. It was patient. One afternoon, Alina asked if he would attend counseling with her. She said they needed help, guidance, healing. Rohan agreed immediately. That surprised her. In therapy sessions, he spoke kindly, taking responsibility for emotional distance, admitting he had become quiet over the years. Lena cried and confessed her loneliness. The therapist praised honesty and growth. Rohan smiled. He let the record show what he needed it to show outside the sessions he never discussed. Feelings? He focused on actions. He transferred money carefully, separating accounts in legal ways. He reviewed property documents, he updated his will. Every step was clean, lawful, invisible. Alina began to feel something slipping away. She noticed how Rohan no longer shared his day. How his phone stayed silent. How he left the room to take calls. Fear returned, sharp and constant. One night she asked directly if he planned to leave her. Rohan looked at her for a long moment. He said the future depended on truth. She promised there would be no more lies. Her voice shook as she said it. Weeks later, complications appeared. Lena's illness flared again. She grew weaker. The pregnancy became risky. Han took emergency leave from work and stayed by her. Sighed in the hospital. He slept in a chair. He held her hand during tests. Doctors spoke seriously. Decisions were made. Khan signed forms with steady hands. In those moments, something human stirred inside him. Not love as it once was, but compassion. He did not want her to suffer. He wanted justice, not destruction. Alina sensed this softness and clung to it. She whispered dreams of starting over, of raising the child alone if needed, of rebuilding slowly. Rohan listened and said nothing. Silence had become his safest language. After Alina was discharged, life moved forward again, slowly, carefully. Rohan resumed work. Alina stayed home, isolated, depending on him for everything. Friends stopped calling. Family visits became rare. Shame built walls around her. One evening, Rohan brought home dinner and suggested they eat together. Alina felt hopeful. She dressed nicely, even smiled. During the meal, Rohan spoke about selling the apartment someday, about change being healthy. Alina nodded eagerly, thinking he meant a shared future. Later that night, Rohan opened his laptop and reviewed his files. Everything was ready. The timing was right. He closed the screen and slept deeply for the first time in months. The next week, Rohan arranged a meeting with both families. He said it was important, about support and planning. Alina felt nervous but relieved. She believed this meant acceptance. Everyone gathered in the living room. Parents sat close. Concern filled the air. Rohan stood calmly and spoke with respect. He thanked everyone for coming. Then he began to speak the truth. He spoke about the open marriage request. He spoke about the affair. He spoke about the illness. He spoke about the pregnancy. He showed dates, messages, medical reports. Nothing dramatic, just facts. The room fell silent. Alina's mother covered her mouth. Her father looked away. Whispers filled the space. Alina tried to speak, but no words came out. Tears streamed down her face as her world collapsed. Rohan ended by saying he had done everything possible to protect Alina's health and dignity. He said he would continue to do so. But he could not continue the marriage built on lies. He did not shout. He did not accuse. He simply stated his decision. Alina broke down completely. She begged in front of everyone. She promised change again. Her voice cracked as she reached for Rohan's hand. He gently stepped back. He said this was not punishment. It was consequence. The meeting ended in chaos. Relatives argued. Some blamed Alina. Some asked Rohan to reconsider. He listened politely and said his decision was final. That night, Alina sat alone in the bedroom, surrounded by memories that no longer felt safe. Rohan slept on the couch, calm, resolved. The next morning, legal papers arrived. Alina stared at them in shock. Divorce, separation, terms clearly written. Support offered, boundaries set. No cruelty. No revenge written in inkondly fairness. She screamed. She cried. She accused him of planning everything. Rohan admitted he had prepared. He said preparation was not betrayal. Lies were days turned into weeks of emotional storms. Alina cycled between anger and despair. Rohan remained steady. He answered questions. He followed law. He moved with purpose. Eventually, Alina moved to her parents' home. The apartment felt empty. Rohan packed his clothes slowly. Each item felt lighter than the last. He left behind objects tied to memories he no longer needed. On his final night there, he stood in the living room and looked around. 7 years. Reduced to quiet walls. He did not feel loss. He felt released. Outside, the city buzzed. Life continued. Rohan walked out carrying one bag and a calm heart. Behind him, Alina faced the reality she could no longer escape. And ahead of him, a future. Weighted, touched by lies, shaped by patience, and finally, free. The first weeks after Rohan left felt unreal. He stayed in a small rented room near his office, quiet and clean, with only the basics. No photos, no shared memories. Each morning he woke before sunrise and went for long walks. The city felt different when no one expected anything from him. His chest felt lighter, even when his thoughts were heavy. The divorce process moved quickly. Rohan followed every rule, answered every call, signed every paper. He did not argue. He did not delay. His lawyer admired his discipline. The court saw a man who acted with care and proof, not anger. Alina's case was weak. Facts stood firm. Alina struggled. At her parents' home, days blurred together. Her health improved slowly, but her mind stayed restless. The pregnancy advanced, bringing fear instead of joy. People looked at her differently now, some with pity, some with disappointment. Friends stopped visiting. Messages went unanswered. She thought often of Rohan, not the man she betrayed, but the man who stayed when everything fell apart. She replayed moments, searching for signs she missed. His calm, his silence, his patience. She realized too late that it was not forgiveness, it was preparation. One afternoon she called him. Her voice was weak. She said she needed help with paperwork related to medical insurance. Rohan listened and gave clear instructions. He did not refuse. He did not comfort. He stayed neutral. That neutrality hurt her more than cold words. Months passed. The divorce was finalized quietly. No headlines, no drama. Rohan walked out of the courthouse alone, breathing deeply. He felt no victory rush, only closure. The chapter was complete. He took a long leave from work and traveled to a small coastal town. He stayed near the sea, waking to waves and wind. He read books, learned to cook new dishes. He watched people come and go without caring who they were. Slowly, sleep came easier. Laughter returned, soft and surprising. One evening, at a small cafe by the water, he met Mira. She worked there part-time, saving money to open a bookstore. Their conversation was simple. Weather, coffee, books, no heavy past, no questions that hurt. Just ease. They met again the next day. Then again, walks turned into dinners. Dinners turned into shared silence. Rohan did not rush. He told her his past when he felt ready. Mira listened without judgment. She did not try to fix him. She accepted him as he was. Back in the city, Alina gave birth. The process was hard, painful, lonely. The child was healthy. A boy. She held him and cried. Love came, mixed with regret. She named him with care, hoping names could shape better futures. The father never appeared. Promises vanished. Reality stayed. Alina tried to rebuild. She attended therapy. She looked for work she could manage. Some days she succeeded. Some days she failed. Shame followed her like a shadow, but slowly she learned to live with it. She wrote a letter to Rohan one night, not asking for help, not asking for forgiveness, just admitting her mistakes. She thanked him for his kindness when she did not deserve it. She wished him peace. Rohan received the letter weeks later. He read it once, then placed it in a drawer. He did not reply. Some stories did not need answers. A year passed. Rohan moved to a new apartment. He advanced at work. He smiled more. With Mira, love grew gently. No rules, no fear, just choice. He learned that real freedom came from trust, not escape. One evening, as they watched the sunset, Mira asked what revenge meant to him now. Rohan thought for a moment. He said revenge was not about hurting someone back, it was about refusing to be broken by them. In another part of the city, Alina watched her son sleep. Life was harder, quieter. She carried lessons she could not put down. She knew she had lost something rare, a love that did not shout, a man who stayed until truth forced him to leave. Years later, their paths never crossed again. They became separate stories, shaped by the same storm, but carried in different directions. Rohan never spoke badly of Alina. He never told the full story to anyone. He chose dignity over bitterness. That choice became his true revenge, and in that quiet victory, he finally found the peace he had been patient enough to earn.